Alright guys, we're back with the wide body GC here. So now that we've got the bodywork finished and it's ready for primer, I'm actually going to pause here and jump into the drivetrain swap. So this car has the original drivetrain still. It does have Brembos on it, but he wants to get further into tracking and wants something more capable. So we're throwing in a complete 2005 STI drivetrain. So it's going to change the wheel bolt pattern from 5x100 to 5x114. Luckily his wheels are a multi-bolt pattern, so that shouldn't be an issue there. And he does have some new suspension to match. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this and start stripping out all the old stuff that is not going to be used, and then slowly work my way through all the 05 STI drivetrain. Here is the drivetrain here, spread out. For the most part, I've gone through this to check to see if anything needed to be repaired before installing. This little rear spindle needs a bearing, which is pretty minor. Other than that, for the most part, this is ready to go. We do have an I-wire DCCD kit, Super Pro bushings, something else that we'll get into. I can't even remember, but quite an accumulation of parts. Probably the same way I would approach this was my car. Kind of do it all in one So now I'm going to put the car up and start removing the whole rear subframe. I can take it all out in one piece because he has everything to replace it back here, including trailing arm, the aluminum control arms. It's actually going to bring the width of the car, at least the wheel width, out another 15 millimeters compared to the original drivetrain, which is good because this wide body has also brought it out further. So now it will help fill the gaps, which is nice. Alright, here we are with the transmission in, completely bolted up. Had to use a new slave. The RS is a push, the STI, some of the WXs are pull. This swap did not come with the slave, so we just bought a new one, put it on, we got the starter on, and then our I-wire jumper harness is in there. You can't really see it anymore, other than our last little plug. I'm not sure if you can see that. This will plug into the rest of the DCCD kit and run into the car. For our next trick here, we're gonna try and remove this original sway bar bracket. He has some heavy duty ones to put on. So you can see the hardware is a little crusty. What I'm hoping for, best case scenario, is that those just snap and then I can drill and re-tap it rather than it spin in the weld nut and have to deal with that. So let's see how we make out here. Here we are back. Both of these ones came out, which is great because you can see that one's kind of above the filler neck, so it wouldn't be nice to drill and tap. And this one back there is also very tight, but we've got this out now, so we can replace it. Onto the other side where we have all the room in the world. Front one came out. Rear one did the old snapperoo, so we're gonna drill that out and re-tap it. With the rear end about set to all go together, before I do, this one rear spindle, I don't know if you can, there you go. She's got some play, it's a little rough, so I'm going to replace the bearing in it before I put it in. The other side was fine, so let's get to it here. Alright, now that we got the rear spindles ready to go in, I find the easiest way to do it is to hang the suspension. Then from there you can attach the spindle to the suspension, get your axles in, then get your control arms and your trailing arm in. So I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate the craftsmanship in these coilovers. These are Singus Performance, so they are custom built to the specs you desire. Really super nice. I'm excited to see how these feel on the car. So we're gonna go ahead and get the rear ones in. Actually, first going to take off all the bottom sleeves of each one and get some grease on the threads in there so that we don't end up seizing them up down there if we do want to adjust them later. Now with the rear all together, we're gonna move on to the front. I'm actually waiting for transmission axle seals for the front before I can put the axles in, but I can still do a bunch of stuff prior to that. When they originally ordered the coilovers for this car, a GC chassis, it was 5x100. Now it is gonna be 5x114. So we had to order this replacement sleeve there because the bolt spacing in the front spindle is larger in the 5x114 cars versus the 5x100. So I already had to take these off anyway to put some grease in there. Now I'll just put the 5x114 sleeves on when I'm done and jump into front end assembly. Alright, we're back and we have the complete DCCD Spider Pro kit installed, so the switches just popped right in there. I know the car needs a detail, but we've just done 200 hours of body work on it. So down here I just made my final connection at the ECU for the throttle position sense, and that is it. We are ready to party. So we are all done the drivetrain swap on this. Everything's wired in and we are set to go. There is just one more thing I want to do on this car to help enhance it just a little tiny bit. So I'm going to cut here for a second.